to Take It from the Iron Woman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Iron Woman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Iron Woman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Take it from the Iron Woman. Today we talk to Cassie Cooks, and she is a fellow podcaster. Her podcast is Knowledge for Caregivers. Maybe just give us a little flair. Who are you?
On the podcast side, I've been a nurse a long time, probably 40 years almost. But the last 11 years, I was working for this company that I basically help older Americans age in place. One of the big issues is there's a lot of resources. A lot of it's disjointed. And a lot of times when the kids come in the picture or some other family member, they're, what do we do? What do we do about this? There's just so many questions they have. For that part, where you talked about me being a podcaster, I definitely want to talk about everything I've learned in the last 11 years. I may not be an expert on every subject, but I know a little bit about it. If you want more, go here. Go to this resource. I've met a lot of resources in the community. It's something I can bring to the clients that we work with, but it's also just a service I wanted to provide for people, kind of a library. They could go, what do I want to learn about today? Dementia, Parkinson's, Medicare, and I don't have it all complete, but that's my goal with doing the podcast.
We need you because everybody has aging parents or we have questions. To have a trusted source like you, we get to know you and then we're like, oh, Cassie has something to say. Let's figure out what we need. They can ask you questions. So do you interact with your audience in writing or how is that?
I do allow people, if they want to ask questions, to send me via email. People, when they're listening to a podcast, they don't always turn around and go send out an email. But I get a few questions, some of it from my friends that I know. And then sometimes people will email me. Then I have also, on the side, I can do consulting. I really haven't done a lot of that. I've still been doing my day job, which I really still enjoy doing. But it just doesn't leave a lot of time to go out and market because I work for a lady. She owns the company, but we sort of run a lot of it together. If I get a question here where I live locally and they end up using our services, then I'm sort of part of the package. I don't really charge a lot of times for that. Our goal is just with our office here locally, if I can't provide you what you need, then I'm going to try to find a couple of other phone numbers that you can call. I don't know all those resources all over the United States or something like that, but at least I know I can say, go this way. A lot of times people need somebody to talk it out with. One of the things about aging, so many people go to their doctor, and I love doctors. They're great at diagnosing, treating. I'm not here to put any beef on doctors. They really don't know a lot of what's out there community-wise with resources. If you go, what about, how do I get mom to take a shower? They're going to probably be pretty clueless if mom doesn't want to take a shower because they just don't deal with it. With me, I work with a lot of nursing assistants. And I tell some people, I said, let me go get my nursing assistant. I have some that are really experts in certain aspects of caregiving because they do that every day. So some of them actually know more than I do just because it's the experience, not so much the book knowledge. I have maybe more textbook knowledge, but they've got some experience. I'm sometimes calling them, hey, how did you handle this? Or what worked for you in this situation? Sometimes people just need that, I guess, somebody to bounce ideas. Or I'm reassuring them that you're doing all the right things. It's that you're not really getting maybe the outcome you want.
That's sometimes hard. And especially if it's close to home and the family, you don't want to hear things. You're a sounding board. You're almost like a coach, what I do.
Sometimes they need resources. This is what dementia looks like, and you're not going to fix that. They want to fix it. They want to fix mom and dad. There's some things you just cannot fix. Dementia or their arthritis is bad and they're 85 years old, 90 years old, and the doctors they are just not a candidate for surgery. We have to manage things. I get a lot of those times where we're thinking in our age bracket still, I'm almost 60, I'm still going to get fixed. And 80s, 90s, we're more managing. There's some things that we still manage, but we're more managing it and it's not going to get fixed. It's a hard mind frame to switch from your middle-aged children who are thinking, I'm out there, I'm conquering the world, and then your older parents and you're managing a lot of complexities. And older people, they go through a lot of loss, losing independence, they're losing functions, they're losing spouses, they're losing friends. Some of them even lose children. It's hard.
It's not an age we want to look forward to. What can we do? What is your recommendation?
Well, the thing is, people are living longer. And I tell people, sometimes you never know. It seems like it's going to happen overnight when your body just says, that's it, just starts to fall apart. Be the last couple of years of your life. That's hard. I tell people, you live your life until it starts to fall apart. And then after that, you have to get help and manage and just live the best that you can during that time frame, being thankful for what you did get to have. My dad, I was telling you, my dad did habitat homes until he was 87 years old. Loved it. He built them in Birmingham. There's a lot of inner city. He built, I don't know how many, hundreds of homes he helped build. He was very particular. He made things very nice for them. They're small homes, but they're very nice. And he did that till he was 87. Now he's in a independent facility. He can't walk. He can't use his tools as much. He told me the other day he's been driving around the habitat homes just to see what they're doing, even though he can't help. So it's not the same, I guess, contribution that he had. He has some great grandchildren. He looks at those pictures and he calls us. It's just a different stage for him and he's adapting to it. But it is hard, but definitely taking care of your health as much as possible. Social interactions, keeping track of your doctors. Those are all things that will help you age well as much as you can. But it doesn't matter how healthy you are. You either going to have that day you just have a massive heart attack or gone. That's what most people want. Or you're going to have a time when you're just going to be frail. And it can be in your 70s, but it could be in your 90s. Help people live your life until you get to that point and then have a plan in place. I'm actually thinking of writing a book because I really want parents and children to have these conversations of when I reach that point, if it's 80, 85, 95, 100, what's the plan? If people do anything, they need to plan, not just have a trust, which is kind of your legal side of thing, but they need to have a plan. Where do I want to live if I can't live in my home? Who do I want to take care of me? Do I want to live with the kids? Do I not want to live with the kids? There's a lot of questions to go through. I've kind of been starting during some of my free time, kind of putting some of this in a book of what to kind of talk about before you get to that point where you need help.
That's important to think ahead. What if something happens, or where do you see yourself? I'm always amazed by living in New York City. You can take public transportation, and the elderly population, they take the bus, so they don't have to go all the steps down. But there's so much that they can see in the theater, in the museums. Is that the place to be? Or do you want to live in the countryside? Everybody is a little different for what they want.
You have to have the plan for when you can't really get out of your house. And that's usually when we come in, is honestly, a lot of our clients, they can't get out very well from the house. So they have to decide, are they going to stay home? Are they going to move to a community? Are they going to share space with their kids? I've even heard they're starting to have places where some of older people are moving in together and hiring somebody to stay with them. New York, because it's more compact, might be something like that would work. Yeah. Here in Oklahoma, we're really spread out, but I know different people have talked about different plans. And it's hard too when depends on whether you're married or not. Your kids, sometimes both parents are needing help, and then I know that becomes a real struggle for the kids as they're having to take care of them. And then there becomes that role reversal. That's what my husband and I have talked about. We have his mom left, and then I have my dad, but they really depend on us now. We're sort of the patriarchs and matriarchs. Our kids are taking over. Us. Kids are looking to us for guidance, and our parents are looking to us for guidance.
They call it the sandwich generation.
Absolutely. And we've been there the last 5 years. It was probably 10 years, but it was definitely when it first started. I knew all about the sandwich generation, but when you experience it, it's pretty overwhelming.
And how so? Tell the listeners.
My son was diagnosed a little bit late in life as an adult with autism. He was struggling on some of his transitions. And my daughter was struggling a little. They are both doing great now, but definitely there was that. And then more his dad and his mom was like my husband were really reaching out to us. My mom had been having some heart problems and talking to me, and because I'm the nurse, hey, I'm dying. What is going on? It was emotionally stressful. I actually went to see a counselor because I was having panic attacks. I felt everybody was depending on me. I live near my kids, but I didn't live near my parents, but I just felt that emotional. I don't want to be the one that everybody's turning to. And so
it's also your job is you're helping others all the time. And then you have to take care of the family and your parents. You need to rejuvenate. You need to recharge your batteries in order to function.
And then working full time still. And then so many of the calls that you have to make when you're calling resources is during the day when you're trying to work, trying to like take some time out. I got to go make a phone call with the insurance company or with the social worker, then those things. It can be emotionally, and for people that have to physically do a lot for their parents, I see it in the children too. It can be in the spouses, but it can also be in the adult children who are kind of 50-ish age at the height of midlife. You're starting to kind of pinnacle in your career. And then you're also turning around and taking parents to appointments, talking to the doctor because they're starting to forget things. You just start juggling so much. Your kids are kind of starting there. Kids launch later now than they used to. They're not launching right at 18.
How do you rejuvenate and bring joy into your life?
I have a couple of things. I joined Toastmasters. That's my hobby. I would say look at a hobby like Toastmasters. I like to go to because I like to be around people. It's kind of a leadership communication kind of club. It's fun. We're also involved in church. So it helps sort of just have that time. And then we sit on the couch and watch TV. I don't want to think about anything. It's funny because my daughter would watch these serious movies and we're looking for comedy.
What are you watching? You need to watch some mindless stuff.
We're back to watching like Home Improvement from the 90s. I like a lot of the sci-fi. I like Lord of the Rings. I like mystery shows. It's all predictable. This is really good. I like predictable and just kind of sit there. Because you're right. I'm giving during the day and then I turn around and give with the family. And I've had to learn to listen. That was what I learned in counseling. Listen to my emotions and go, okay, this is it. I need a break.
You need a break. And you need to say no to others. Sometimes that's hard. Can you do that? Sure, in the business setting, it's somewhat easy. Like, no, this is the direction we go. But then when it comes to yourself or your family, you're like, maybe.
When I was 27, they weren't diagnosing it, but it's basically like fibromyalgia. My body hurt and I was tired. And I'm 27. Everybody's supposed to have energy and I don't have energy. I'm barely getting through the day. I'm having to take naps. And I had to become very, very disciplined, like diet, exercise, sleep, rest. And I could not overcommit. And I think now I'm glad. Having it and having chronic pain is not fun, but I really did learn to prioritize. Absolutely. It's not even prioritize. It's like, what is absolutely essential that I need to get done today? Do we have food? Do we have some meals? Do we have some clean clothes? Did I see my family? Okay. Then anything else was extra. It was icing on top.
And what exercise do you do? You said you also changed the diet.
Exercise. Well, it's hard for me to do too much exercise because I'll get in a lot of pain. I had an exercise bike and then I was doing that, but they said I needed to do some weight bearing. I was having a little bit of bone loss. I do the treadmill, but it's at a pretty slow pace. It was hard for me at first. I tried to exercise and I kept overdoing it and getting really sore and painful when I first had fibromyalgia. And then, I don't know, it's about 15 years in. Can y'all find something? They finally got me on something. I thought, I'm going to try. It was one block. Just walk one block. That's all I was going to do. If I could get around one block. And honestly, I was exhausted. That was a fourth of a mile. And then about a month later, I said, I'm going to go 2 blocks. I got up to 3 miles back then in my 40s. And then I've had some foot problems. It's a little harder right now for me to walk outside. I've been doing the treadmill. I try to do 30 to 45 minutes, but to me, it's a 2-mile pace, which not real fast, I know. But to me, if I can do any movement, stretches, the bike, the treadmill, 30 to 45 minutes, I'm a lot better. And I have to eat pretty healthy. Lean proteins, vegetables, fruit, and I have my little indulgence of chocolate. But
we need to have something.
I do have to balance my diet when I go on vacation and I eat a bunch of sugar and I feel awful, my eyes are puffy. When I come home, I'm ready for my vegetables and my meat and back on my healthy diet. But I try to tell people that it's all about managing it. I know it's hard, but I have a higher quality of life. That's the way I look at it. When people are, why don't you eat this? Or, oh, you can't eat this. I said, I don't miss it. Occasionally I do, but most of the time it's just not worth it to me. Why do I want to feel horrible?
And if you know that it's not good for you, so why would you eat this? You stay away from certain things, and that's the way to happiness. Any final thoughts, what we can give our listeners? You gave so much wisdom. I'm excited to watch and listen to your podcast to learn more.
I think above everything is that life is about managing. I guess that's the thing I've learned. You're going to manage whatever it is, whether you have health problems or mental health problems or sandwich. You got to figure out how to manage it. You don't always solve it. We're always looking for solutions. I don't know that there always are clear-cut solutions as much as I'm managing a lot of things, and then I can live if I manage those things and not let them get out of control, but not always going, surely there's going to be a solution and this is going to end. That's how I think I've kind of slowly figured out life.
That's a good way. Healthy habits, moving, a good diet, and manage life. Thank you so much. I learned a lot today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for a meaningful conversation. We all need to learn from Cassie and take all the wisdom with us and stay healthy. Take it from the Iron Woman. We have episodes every Monday. Don't miss out. There's stories from people who share cool stories, share their experience, share their knowledge, something for everybody. And Take It From the Iron Woman is also the book, Global Business Coaching with Sports Parallels. Download it or get it at the local bookstore. Support local-owned businesses. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you next time.